Now to write a function definition, I'll write, okay, let's say user underscore authentication. Now I something, let's say user underscore name, comma, password. Right? So I'm specifying this two parameters. Let's say I'm doing some sort of operation, but for now let's print only these two values. Let's say username and password. So your execution will be sequential. So it will map, okay, ABCD defaultly with username and this with password, right? So it's kind of understood that, okay, I'm passing in a sequence. So another way of passing value is something called keyword arguments. Okay. So what is keyword argument? Instead of specifying that, okay, so this will defaultly take, this is a username, this is a password. Okay. But let's say now I want to change the order, and this time I am specifying, let's say abd @456. Okay, but now this is a password. Okay, so I can specify a value something like this. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm explicitly specifying that, okay, from these two variables which I'm using while accept the values, one is username, so but first one I'm using is a password, and second one is the username. Okay, so here now my order will not matter in which I am giving a function call, so it will defaultly map username with pqr and password with abd@123. Okay, so this is a concept of your keyword arguments. Next is we have something called variable length. Okay, so let's say now I have some user information. Let's say name of that person is ABC. Let's say address of that person is, let's say, Bangalore. Let's say contact number. Okay, so this is one. And let's say I have another function call where I have, okay, so along with this email, let's do, let's see, okay, now I want this function to work. Okay, so how I can write it? So I'll say definition of user info. So we have seen star args to accept variable length positional arguments. Okay, but now here I have variable length keyword arguments. Okay, so I will accept it into something called double star keyword arguments. Okay, now again it is not mandatory to write keyword args only. You can write anything, but your double star is important here. Okay, I will just have a look here. What, when I just print this keyword arguments, what exactly it is passing. What is the data type? Okay. So whenever I have a variable and positional arguments, it will pass it as a positional arguments. When I write star args, what will be the data type? It's a tuple. But when I have variable length keyword arguments, it will pass it as a dictionary. Okay. So now if I want to access a value, it will come down to my dictionary now. So if I want only name, I can use keyword arguments of name now. Okay, so this is the concept of your variable length keyword arguments. Now in Python, I can combine my variable length positional arguments and variable length keyword arguments also. Okay, and that will be my generic function, and that function now can accept any type of values. Okay, so let's say I'm writing a function called print val. Okay, and here I'm writing star args. Okay, comma star star args. Okay, so now if I print args, comma args. Okay. So now I'm writing two function calls again. Okay, but here if you see the value which I'm passing is like, okay, so initially I'm passing 6 numbers and few keyword arguments. Then in this function I'm passing 3 numbers and then 2 keyword arguments again. So now if I execute this, okay, so this is how you can write a generic function in Python. So now if you write star args and keyword args, now this function can accept anything. So this function can accept any type of data. So you don't have any restriction here now. So how it will work, it will defaultly map all these integers or all the positional arguments with args. And if I have keyword arguments, defaultly it will map it to the keyword arguments. So even if I remove all the default, if I remove all the positional arguments and if I execute this, so I'll get an empty tuple for this and it will automatically map it to the keyword arguments. Same goes here, even if I do not write anything, I'll not get an error. Now this function can accept anything. Okay. Important concept.
We have to do all the argument first of it, right?
Okay. So the rule when you are specifying like this is all positional arguments should be before your keyword arguments. Okay. So even if I try to like this, so if I want at least one mandatory parameter, I can do anything with this now. What is the meaning of this? So now I'm saying that there should be at least one positional parameter, and after that anything it can be mapped to this, and after that is there any keyword, okay, completely map it with this part. Okay, so this way I can design any kind of so this way I can write functions which can accept any kind of input. Okay, so you will find this kind of function calls in a lot of places. And it is really useful whenever you are working with databases like your MongoDB. So when I have a NoSQL database, I already don't know the structure. So for some data, I have 10 rows. For few of them, I have 20 rows. So when I'm extracting the data from a database, I cannot expect that I'll get a fixed amount of data. So while passing the function, this function will really help you to generate functions. So whatever we have discussed till now, so it's like I have multiple arguments and I am packing everything into one tuple or one dictionary. So this is an example of packing also. Now we have a concept of unpacking. So what is unpacking? So let's say I have a function which accepts three values. Okay. Now you are getting these three values, let's say in a list. Okay. So ultimately, if I want to pass these three values to this function, one way is I can pass that print val of L of 0, L of 1 and L of 2. Okay, this is one way, but Python provides a better approach for this. So all you have to do is unpack all this element from this list. So I will just say star over here. So I just need to specify what I'm looking for to unpack. So now how it will work, it will split this 100, 200, 300 into three separate variables, that is 100, 200 separately. Now your 100 will be getting mapped to num1, 200 will get mapped to num2 and 300 will get mapped to your num3. And val, so this is my function. I'm accepting num1, num2, num3, colon, print function of these three values. And it is giving me error here. Okay. Now try doing the same thing in case of a dictionary. Let's say instead of list, now I'm getting this three element as values for three keys. Let's say 1 colon 100, 2 colon 200 and 3 colon 300. Or let's say num1 colon 100, num2 colon 200, num3 colon 300.
Keys.
Mhm. It is giving.
Keys.
Try double slash.
D. D equal to.
So you have a dictionary like this. Let's say num1 colon 100. So, okay. If I just do star D, so now it will print me num1, num2, num3, and that are my keys. If I do double star D, so in case of a dictionary, it will work a bit differently. So I have to use double star. So same as your keyword argument. So ultimately, what it will do, it will convert your dictionary into keyword arguments. Okay, and it will pass it to this particular function. Okay, so let's try this. I have this list 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. L2 is equals to, let's say 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5, comma 6. And I have L3 is equals to, let's say 150, 250, 350, 450, 550, 650. Okay, so I want to write a function that I will just pass the total number of lists. Okay, so let's say here I have three lists, so I need to pass this all these three lists, and it should return me a list of doing addition of, so first element, so 100, 100 plus 1 plus 150. So it should return me 251 as the first element. Okay, so likewise I want the addition. Now the only thing is this time I have three lists. I can have four lists, I can have five lists, I can have 10 lists. Facing issues.
So,
So what's your logic?
I'm just trying to we have an inbuilt function for summing this list.
Yeah, we have this. We have some function, right?
Yeah, that is, if I'm doing sum, it is just
Chalo, alright. So how you're iterating? Yeah. So let me define a function. Let's say something called element underscore add. Okay. So here in this case, I'm passing L1, comma L2, comma L3. Okay, and it will also return me the L4. Okay, so I want L5, and here yeah. So now I have this definition element add. Yeah. Hey, yeah, what should I write?
Star.
Uh-huh. Wait, some star here, GS. So now I will get a tuple. So now if I just print args, okay. So in the first iteration, I am getting this entire list, this second list, and this third list. What I want is I want addition of this plus this, right? One way I can write a for loop and iterate till that element, right? I guess I can directly use my zip function also, right? So what I can do, I'm saying for, let's say, while in zip of, okay. So now if you decode it, so in a first iteration, I will get, so when I say zip of args, and list of zip of args. So when I say zip of multiple values, it should pack, and in each iteration I will get one value. But here, so I'm getting this as a tuple. So this is one as a tuple. This is second value as a tuple, and I'm getting this third value as a tuple here. So this is, so this looks like it's not working out. So for zip, it looks like I need to separately specify all the list. So one way I can figure it out how many elements I have in ARGS and create that much list and create a zip object, or better is directly do the math part using the range. That will be the best part. So what I'm doing, so let's say for index in range of, let's say length of ARGS of 0. I'm expecting I'll get a same element length here, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Right. I want another list. So initially this is blank. So what I will do, I'll just do l4 dot append. Okay. So now the challenge here is I have the 0th index. Okay. But now I don't know how many elements I have here. So now when I use ARGS, ultimately I have n number of elements here. So for that, do I need to iterate again? So what was your approach? Because ultimately if you think, so now here I'm getting ARGS, okay? It is again a tuple of lists, right? So even if I do range of this, and even if I try to get append of args of 0 of this, so it's like now a tuple inside a tuple. Uh-huh.
I think we have to do two loops, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
One for number of elements, one for
The total number of elements I have in a list. Exactly. Okay. So from this, I will get one element at a time. Now, whatever element I will get, from this, I want to fetch. Let's see. So from this thing, what I'm expecting is I will also in this ARGs, one element, second element, third element. From say ARGs, first element, second element, third element. From that first element, I and I'll further append. So now I'm saying sum equals to 0. Okay, so I will say sum equals to sum plus value of index. I'll get this, and whatever value of sum I will get, I will say L4 dot append of sum. Okay. So now if I print, once this is done, now if I just print L4. So is it correct? 100, 101, 150. Yes, this is correct. 224, 450, 452. That looks correct. Right. Okay. So what I'm doing is, so I want to do sum of based on the index. So I want sum of 100, 1 and 150, 200, 2 and 250. Now the only condition is I don't know how many lists I'm gonna get. So it's that. So even if that was 3 lists, then it would have been a simpler that okay, I can just zip those elements and run one for loop and do this. But now the condition is I don't know how many lists I'm gonna get. So that is the reason I need to write a function which can accept n number of elements. Okay. So what I'm doing, okay, accept it as a variable and argument. So now if I print args, what I will get? Did we miss on something? So here if I just print args, okay. So in the first, so args contains, so args is a tuple, and now this tuple contains this is one list, this is second list, and this is third list. Okay, what I want, I need something which will fetch me the first value, first value, first value. Then in the next iteration I want to fetch second value, second value, second value. Next iteration get the third value from it. Okay, so how many times I need to repeat this procedure till I have the length, till the total number of element I have in this list. I'm assuming I will have same number of element in all the list. Okay, so that is the reason I have taken this for loop with a range of length of first element. So now it will be length of this is 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. So now this will execute 6 times. Okay, so in the first iteration I will get 0. In the first element in index I will get 0. So when I get 0, my job is I need to pick 0th element from this list, 0th from this list, and 0th from this list. Okay, but I don't know how many lists I have, and from how many lists I need to pick that particular element. Okay, so that is also variable thing. So that is the reason I'm writing another loop where I will iterate over all the values we have in args. Now, this way it will not matter whether I have 4 elements in a list or 5 elements in a list. So in each iteration, I'll keep on getting one element, one entire list from that pick first element. In a next iteration, I'll get this list from that pick this particular element. Okay. So ultimately, in this loop, I'm getting this entire list. From that, I'm fetching this, and I need to store the addition. So that is the reason I have taken one sum variable, and I'm doing this sum addition that initially it is 0. Whatever element you will get, just add it to the existing element. Now, once you have done sum for this, that is 100, 1, and 150, add as an element to the list. And now instead of this, I can say, do I have a return here? So here I'm saying return the L4. Okay. So now if I just print L4 here, and let's just check if it works for 5 elements also. So here I'm passing 4 lists. And okay. So now this will work for n number of lists, and it will do the addition based on the indexes. Is it complicated? 40? Avinash, hopefully, I guess this is something which we covered yesterday only. You have missed few parts, so let's see if I'll cover it next time session. So let's discuss scope of a variable in Python functions. I'm creating one function. Let's call it as a print val. I am defining one variable inside this function. Okay, so let's see inside the function. Let's see. If I execute this code, will it throw an error?
Yes.
Okay. So defaultly, whatever variable you are defining inside a function, now those functions are not available to work with outside your function definition. Okay. So default scope of a variable inside in Python is local scope. Okay. Now this is the default behavior you will see in multiple languages. Okay, so nothing new here. So I will specify, if I specify a variable here, I cannot access it outside a function. Okay. But how about this? Hmm, now I'm defining a variable here. Num1 is equals to 200. Okay. And if I'm trying to print it inside a function, will it work?
We are looking for value before we decide. Now we define
Number we have defined.
function called
Okay, how about now? So now I have given a function call. If I execute this, will it work? Still it's working. So now I'm saying num1 is equals to 500. Okay, so just check the values. I said num1 equal to 200. I gave a call to print val. It went upstairs. Num1 equal to now 500. Print the num1. Okay, so this is the value inside, so that's why it printed 500. But now when it came back and when I asked to print num1, it only printed 200. Okay, that means it didn't modify the value inside a function. Okay, but how about this now? So now it will throw an error that non-local variable num1 referenced before assignment. Okay. So the concept here is, unless and until you specify something, all the variables which you are creating inside a function will be treated as a local variable. Okay. So now this num1 does not exist for this particular function definition. Okay. So now if you think with the perspective of this particular definition, it will consider, okay, num1 is equals to 500. Okay, you're defining a local variable. But here you are defining a local variable, but before actually defining it, you are trying to print the value. Okay. Now Python is not understanding that when I say print num1 here, I mean that print the value of num1 which I have assigned here. Okay. So now if your expectation is I want the global value to be modified, I want this num1 to be considered as a global. So inside a function, if there is an assignment, it should modify the value. Then you have to declare something called a keyword called global. Okay. So now if I define it with keyword global, that means now I'm referring to this particular same num1 copy. I am not saying that create a local copy of this variable num1 inside this function print1. So how it will look? Okay, num1 is 200 initially. Okay, we are giving a print val call. It will go up. Now it will see, okay, this is a global variable, so I am not creating the new copy of this variable. So when I say print num1, it will print 200. Now when I reassign the value equal to 500, it will change the value for original num1 reference. So that's why when it goes back and when I print the value, it will display me the value 500. Okay. So defaultly, so the concept here is that defaultly the scope will be local, and if you want a global value to be referred, then we have a keyword called global. Okay, so I can define n number of variable as a global, and I can use it inside a function. Okay. So we discussed factorial is a built-in function available. But let's say I want 5 factorial without using built-in functions. Give it a try. So I want a function. Let's say if the function name is fact. If I pass a number to it, it will return me the answer. Yeah. Which approach you used?
We just use the value.
Mhm. So when I say factorial of 5, so I can write it as 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? So I just need that. Here's it. So def of fact. Let's call it as num. So I'm saying while num1 is greater than 0, right? So I'm saying, so let's take variable fact initially it is 1. This fact is equals to fact into num1, and after this I'll decrement the num1 minus equals to, once I get this, let's say return. So I'm just running a while loop. It will start from that number. I will decrement it, and I'll just keeping one value the way we use for some variable. Here I'm just multiplying with the existing value. So this is one approach to solve this problem. And the second approach is using recursion. Okay. So what is recursion? So if I have a function which gives a call to itself, then that particular function I can call it as a recursive function. Okay, so how I can solve it using recursion? So let's say I want 5 factorial. So 5 factorial, I can write it as 5 into 4 factorial. So this 4 factorial, again I can write it as 4 into 3 factorial. This 3 factorial, again I can write it as 3 into 2 factorial. And this 2 factorial, I can write it as 2 into 1 factorial. Ultimately, when I reach at the end, I can say that if it's 1 factorial, answer will be 1, right? And now I will just adding the answer at the top. Okay, so my end point is when I reach the value equals to 1. Okay, so let's have a look how I can write it using recursion. Again, I'm keeping my function call same. Here's my function. Alright, I have something like this. So let's say the definition of fact, and this is num1. So what I'm saying, if this num1 is equals to 1, then in that case return me the answer as 1. Okay, else okay. So the condition which we have discussed is something like this. I have a number minus factorial of number minus 1, right? So I'm just doing the same condition here. If the number is not equal to 1, then calculate num1 into factorial of num1 minus 1. And I want to do this operation till I reach the value of return value to 1. Okay, so now if I execute this, it is also giving me answer 120. Okay, so let's try to debug this particular code. So how your recursion actually works. Okay, so first thing, you are making this particular call, let's say fact of 5. Okay, check 5 is equal to 1, no, then go to else section. So in else section you are writing num1 into, so this is a return statement, yes, but now I'm writing num1 into fact of num1 minus 1. So it will try to evaluate this thing first, okay, and then only it will return the answer. So now here num1 is, what is the value of num1? So initially num1 I'm passing this as 5, right? So it will take this file, pass it to this num1. Okay, it will check if num1 equal to 1 or not. No, then go to else section. So you will say num1 return num1 into fact of num minus 1. That means now it will be 5 into factorial of 4. Now again this is a function call. So when there is a function call, now it will again move to the top and start executing the statements again. Now again compare if num1 equal to, so now this time num1 is 4. So compare if 4 equal to 1. No, then go to the else section. Now check, so now you will get 4 into factorial of 3. Again this is a function call, so I need to execute this. So now it will be 3 into factorial of 2, right? This will go again, so now I get 2 into factorial of 1. Now I will compare that if equal to 1, yes, in that case I am saying return 1. Okay, but to whom this 1 will be returned? So in case of a recursion or in case of any function call, your answer will be returned to its immediate caller. Okay, so now when I'm getting answer 1, I'm getting answer because of function called fact1, right? So it will return this particular 1 to its fact of 1. So that is the reason now I will get 1 here. Now evaluate this, so I'll get 2 as answer. Again this 2 is always a return statement here, but it will return to whom? To its immediate caller. So now I will get 2 here. Evaluate this, now I will get 6. So 6 will be returned to its caller. So now I will get 6 here. So answer will be 24. 24 will be returned to its caller. So now I will get 24 here. So ultimately I will evaluate 24 into 5, and that is 120, and that will be my final return to this particular function. Okay. So in case of a recursion, your return statement is the most important part. Ultimately you have to reach to the top, so you have to fetch the answer. So you are dividing the problem into the small problems, solving the smaller one, and combining the answer with the bigger one. That's all you're doing. Okay, ultimately your return statements are the most important statements. Okay, anyone remembers binary search? We can move ahead, right? Sure. Yeah, any idea? So we have seen linear search, that if I have a key, let's say key at 60, I will start comparing with each element, and if the element is present I will return true, otherwise I will return false. Now but if in case of this, now my complexity is big O of n. That means in order to search the 60, I have to compare 6 elements here. So in short, average time complexity is total number of elements I have, it will take that much time. If I'm searching for the first element, obviously it will be big O of 1, but last element it will be big O of 1. So that is the reason average time complexity is considered as a big O of n. Okay. So I want to optimize this, and that is the reason my binary search algorithm exists. Okay. So what is the logic of binary search? First thing, my array should be sorted. Okay. Next thing, I will calculate something called mid. Now what is my mid? Obviously the total length by 2. What is the length here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Half will be 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I will start comparing from the middle element. Okay. So what I will do, I will compare the key, third thing. Okay. So you have to compare the key with middle element. That means I will compare if 60 equal to 50 or not. Okay. If it is equal to mid, then I will just say that is the end of the story. So just return me true. Okay. But else part. Now, if you think as the list is sorted, so if I compare with middle element, so I can say that I will check the elements. If my key is less than the middle element, I can say that even if my key present, it should be on the left hand side. If my key is larger than the mid, I can say even if my key is present, it will be present on the right hand side only. Okay. So now what I'll do, so I need to check two conditions. Else compare your key is greater than your mid or not. If your key is greater, then what you will do, you will again try to find out the mid, but now again you will find out the mid on the list which is on the right hand side of the mid. So initially you started from this huge list. After first iteration, you said your key is greater. So now you cut down it to this part only. Okay. So you will find out the mid from 60, 70 and 80. Okay. What will be the mid? So it's 3, 3 by 2. I'll get 1 as answer, 0, 1, 70. Again, I will compare if mid equal to key or not. If no, then again I need to check if it is less than or greater than. Now in this case, your key is less than. Even if the key is less than, that means even if the key present, it will be on the left hand side. So now I will say 60. Okay. So again, next time I will have only one element, that is 60. I will find out the mid. What will be the mid? I have only one element, 1 by 2. I'll get 0. 0th element, that is 60. 60 equal to 60. Yes. And ultimately, I will return true. Check the number of comparison it required to compare the values. So you did 1 here, 2 here, and the third comparison you return true from the result. Okay. So this is the advantage of your binary search. Now, if you think of binary search, so initially I'm calculating mid, but if my key is greater than the mid, then ultimately I am applying binary search again on the list which is present on the right hand side. If my key is smaller, I am applying binary search on the list which is present on the left hand side. And that is the reason I can solve binary search using recursive approach. Okay, so you guys will help me, right? To write a code. Just follow the steps. So now I have a list, I have a key. I need a function. What's my function name? Let's call it as binary search. I'm passing the list, I'm passing the key here. All right. So let's say def of binary search. All right. Okay. So this function will return me true or false. Okay. All right. Yeah. So first step is find out the mid. What should I write?
Don't take short first.
Let's assume I have already sorted thing, or I can just write here L dot sort. Okay, even if it's sorted, it will sort. Fine. Okay, sure. Mm-hmm. L of square bracket. Uh-huh. And why is that? So this L of ln of L will give me 6. Then you are saying, all right. So this will give me the last element, right? Oh, okay. So divide by 2. Okay, so you want, but I guess this will give me number. This will give me the entire value for it. This will give me 50, right? Sure. So you want this. Will this division work? Can I use this? Okay. So I said I will compare if mid equal to key. If yes, I will say return true. Okay. As if I need to compare if mid is, sorry, if my key is less than my mid value. Okay. If this is less, then what I need to do? I need to call my binary search. I need to pass a key, okay, but I need to pass the list which is on the left hand side of the mid. So in short, let's assume the 50 is the mid. While giving the call to binary search, all I need to do is I need to pass everything which is on the left hand side. What should I write? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, so can I use mid here? Uh-huh. So I need to fetch the index here. That is the reason I will say, instead of fetching the element here, I will play around with this. Ultimately, I need to compare L of mid here, so I will say L of mid here. Okay, and then here also I will say L of mid. So that, should I write mid or mid plus 1? Mm-hmm. Now I have index only in a mid. So I'll compare if L of mid equal to key, otherwise true. Else I will say binary search of start to mid. Keep in mind my end is not inclusive. Still, is it mid or mid plus 1? Exactly. So I can write mid plus 1 because ultimately now it will take one extra element. That means it will go till mid also, and I have already compared my mid element. I don't have to compare it again. So I'll just say L of mid. Otherwise, last condition will be binary search of, yeah, I want everything which is on the right hand side. What should I write? Okay. So I will write mid colon end, right? It's just that I have already compared the mid, so I can write mid plus 1 to end of the list and pass it. Will it work? Sure. Should I execute? No, hold on. There's something else. The object of this type, none type, has no attribute elegant. Where is my function called? Oh, when I say sort, it will. Okay. So I cannot pass like this. Yeah. So this is giving me none as an answer. But if I say this will return me true. if I use 70, this will return me none.
Yeah.
Okay. Try to debug it. So I will get 70, right? Okay, fine, perfect. Sure. So I'll start with mid. I'll get mid as 50, right? It is not equal. So it will check else part. No, this is not true. So go to this binary search of L of mid plus 1 to end. In short, what you are passing now, you are passing 60, 70, and 80, and your key is 70. Calculate the mid, right? You will calculate the mid. You will get 70. Okay, it is equal to true, right? It will return true to its caller. That means it will return true to its caller here. But are we getting any return value from his function to our original function call? Okay, so the only problem was your algorithm was absolutely fine. It's just you have given your first binary search call. Okay, then it is giving me some return to ultimate final caller. Inside that you have made another binary search call, but you don't have any return statement output. So even though it calculates the answer, even though it gets answer true, now this answer will stay at this level only. It cannot reach to this level, and if it cannot reach to this level, I cannot see the answer in this variable. So that is the reason whenever you are solving a problem using recursion, the most important thing here is return. Okay? But how about this? We haven't handled this condition also. So it is saying that list index out of range. Okay, so now let's try to debug again. Your key is 700. Okay, so start with 50. Alright. So now your key is 700. Start with 50. Okay, greater. Go to the else block. Okay, find out mid plus 1. Okay, you will go to this part. Again from this find out mid. That is 70. You will come to know, okay, my key is still greater. Find out on the right hand side. Okay, now I will pass 80. Now mid will be 80. Okay, compare with 80. Again, I will say that, okay, my key is greater. So look on the right hand side. Now, do I have anything on the right hand side? No. In short, at the end, I will get empty list. And I am again trying to calculate the mid on the empty list. Okay, and that is the reason it is throwing me this error. So what I'm doing is, if ln of l is equal to 0, then I am saying return.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is your last step. So now I'm saying if length is 0, then return false. Otherwise, try to find out the mid and everything. So now if I execute this, so now no matter which value I will pass, this should work fine. So if I pass 60, working fine. 600, returning false. Okay, so we'll stop here for today. For the same problem, now we will try to convert it into the module. So let's say now this is our own function. We have implemented this. So how about making this module so that someone wants to use this function directly, you can just call it from now. Okay, so that will cover next time. Okay, please confirm the timings with Amitesh again. The reason we are having flexible timing this week because we are accommodating try to the maximum classes this week. So timings might change. I'm just juggling the between multiple batches. Okay. Tomorrow most probably again it's gonna be 7.